Welcome to RCS episode 200. I'm Dan.
I'm Nick.
We're still here.
I've had to take my shoes off to count to 20 now 10 times to get here, so it's a big feat. And not just because I that was unintentional, but
that's kind of funny.
So it's funny. I mean, not much has changed. We are, because of busy world and things like that, Dan and I are sitting in his kitchen.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we kind of started in my kitchen many, 2017?
November of 2017, I think it was.
Yeah, that's, wow. We're old.
Yep.
We were in our 30s, Dan.
That's true.
Way back then.
We have more sponsors now.
Very good sponsors.
Yeah. We have Avance, Carter Subaru, which I have a good tip of the week this time. I like to think they're mostly good, but I have a good one this time. It's kind of a funny one.
Okay.
We're still brought to you by our friends at Drivers Club.
Yes.
And they had an awesome rally, by the way. We were just laughing at a picture that was on I have a Google Home screen, and it's of Jackson. I was like, oh, that's Jackson. And Nick's like, yeah, I was sitting across from that picture while you took it.
I was sitting in the gondola with you while you took that photo of lovely Shauna. Yeah, exactly.
They were just there. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Our friends at Griot's Garage, RCS 10 gives you 10% off. Thank you to them for providing the swag for our awesome time at the Dirtfish Summerfest. That was very wet.
Oh, that was fun.
It was tons of fun, though.
Dan and I were laughing because, as we know Nick Griot and Richard Griot, and Nick does all the marketing stuff. And he just did a post of classic Nick talking about how they test their orbital buffers, and he's got a mustache on. He's sitting in the driveway, swinging it around his head. I was like, that's how you get some attention for that. So yeah,
yeah. If you've ever saved one by the cord, though, which I have, from dropping it, I just fumbled it around because I'm clumsy and grabbed it by the cord, and I have, and it,
good testing.
Good testing.
Yeah.
Our friends at Haggerty, Let's Drive Together, which lots of stuff coming up with Haggerty. Excited to see that coming around. They're still going strong.
Finally heard Peter's commercial.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that last time. If you didn't listen to our last commercial, I led into it. I hope you didn't hit the fast forward button. It's a really good story by Peter Gleason, which there's always good stories by Peter Gleason.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And Salvo Design. So thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy, for telling us what we did not know about what we did not know.
Yeah, everybody loved our shirt, by the way. I was wearing my, even though it was cold and rainy, I took off the sweatshirt a couple times to show everybody the
quick,
Yeah, you guys are idiots logo from the Backcountry Monkey, which if you haven't seen the video, that is now live. It's right on our homepage. If you go to RainCitySupercars.com, you scroll down, you will see the video right there.
Giant photo of Dan, coming into a corner way too hot.
Oh, no, I had to change the background. That was YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So that was what YouTube put as the background.
Oh,
and
okay.
For the life of me, stupid YouTube. I couldn't do it on the computer. I couldn't do it on anything. And then I finally was able to upload it via the YouTube app on my phone to change the background image to the actual logo.
Oh, okay. I was just laughing. It was a good photo.
It was a cool photo, but it was auto-generated.
I remember that corner. So we all kind of came in hot to that corner. So.
Yeah. But thank Brandon Ben Powell for that, all that video work. It turned out awesome, and it links to the podcast, which hopefully we will be doing more of that storytelling with video, because I think it was a fun way to do an episode in a way.
Yeah, we've got a fun idea coming up. I don't know when yet, but we're going to do a little fun video. Dan and I got new GoPros.
Yes.
Which is great because we got them a month ago, and then I see an email yesterday, GoPro's releasing a new camera.
The new 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. When isn't GoPro releasing a new camera? They're like McLaren.
They were behind for a while. They had some stock issues. So yeah.
Yeah, and we have a new sponsor coming on board. You'll notice that some of the other ones are missing. With no bad blood there, but we have a new sponsor coming on board that we can announce. We won't have the commercial on this one, but you guys will hear it as not really a commercial. That's York Real Estate.
It's Ray kind of came to us and was like, what's a really cool thing about cars is a place to keep them.
Yes.
And so we are going to be, as Ray comes on board, actually in next week's episode, we will have we actually haven't settled on the name yet. We're thinking like the Garage of the Week or something like that. Something that's on the market that would maybe some of our car listeners might be interested in looking at. So we're going to have obviously a text-in code for that and things like that. And Dan and I are going to kind of look at them and give them our review and talk about them. And then if you're interested, then you can reach out to Ray.
Yeah, and we promise these will not be properties that, this house has a garage, you should buy it. No, this is cool houses, cool garages, stuff that is gearhead specific. And Ray and his daughter Felicia, for that matter, are huge gearheads.
Yeah.
And so he's a genuine gear nut. He is a very active Avance member. If you guys are in Avance, probably know Ray. Seen him driving around all the time. Anyway, I'm excited to present that and look at some cool houses, which will make me, which will give me buyer's remorse, because every time I see a nice shop, I'm like, oh, I wish I had.
He sent us 3 of them already that we're looking at, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like all of those, please.
Yeah,
exactly. I was like, but I'm going to need like 7 more jobs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So as usual, we keep our sponsors on topic, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your Carter Subaru? You seem so excited about it.
Okay,
so.
well, I have 2.
Ooh.
This is more of a fun. I'm not going to go into it too deep because there's some great YouTube videos on it, but I did not know this. If you have an inline 4 engine,
okay,
there's exceptions to every rule. Don't give me that email. With like 99% of the time, though, you have a flat plane crank engine.
Interesting.
And I did not know that. It makes sense when I look at it, but an inline 4 is 99% of the time a flat plane crank.
And how did you come about this? Like,
I was doing some research on engines in general, and it was super, super weird. This is how my very odd brain works sometimes. I think I had way too much caffeine, and I was at I-90 Motorsports looking at things I shouldn't buy, and I heard a newer...
We're going back to that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I heard a newer, not really that new, a early 2010s-ish Yamaha R1 that was in the parking lot.
Old school,
yeah. And it was I was like, that sounds different. And so I've ridden a lot of R1s in my day, but they were all older, pre-06. And it turns out that a R1, I think it's 06 or maybe it's 09 and later, I can't remember, does not have a flat plane crank. It's one of the only ones that doesn't.
Okay.
So
this was in the bike, though.
In the bike, and I thought it sounded different. And I could not, for the life of me, figure out why it sounded different. And so I was like you said, you hear something and you've heard a million engines, you've heard a million motorcycles, and when you hear one that sounds different, you assume it's the exhaust or something first, but it was the firing order that was throwing me off. And the only reason I knew it sounded different is because it had a rough idle. And so, but not in a rough idle like it was in, like the guy was checking it out, but not in the rough idle like it was broken. Like it probably had like maybe a fouled plug or a missing sparkle wire or something. But I was like, that's weird. It doesn't just sound broken. It sounds different. There's a difference between sounding different and sounding broken. If you've been in this, we know this.
Metal sounds, yeah.
So the Yamaha R1 has what's called a cross-plane crank. The idea behind it, so basically in a flat plane crank, basically in a normal inline 4 in a standard fire configuration, you have the first piston and the last piston go up and the center 2 pistons go down at the exact same time. Makes it really balanced, makes it quick to rev. But the advantage of a cross-plane crank, in theory, is that you get the lower end torque. Now, this requires a balance shaft in the motor, but Yamaha's idea, simply put, was they wanted the low end torque of a V-twin with the high revs of an inline 4.
But you don't get an inline 4 in a bike.
Yeah, you do. All 600.
Inline 4-cylinder?
Yeah, they're all inline 4s. I mean, there's V4s and V-twins, but like all your 600s, all your 750s, all your 1000s, liter bike class, 750 class, 600 class are all inline 4s.
4-cylinders?
Yeah.
What have I been missing?
All Harleys are twins.
Yeah.
Most Ducatis up until now were V-twins, and then they went to V4. The Yamaha was a V4, or the Honda VFR was a V4.
Good Lord, I do. I think it's one of those moments like where you think you know something in this. I'm like, no, I had no idea. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I just always assumed
straight across the front.
You either had a single piston or you had 2 pistons. I mean, but 4.
Or you have a V4 configuration.
Yeah, well, I get it now, but I was okay. Sorry.
Or you have a flat 4 if you're a BMW or a Moto Guzzi, or you have or a flat twin, or Triumph has an inline 3 in the speed triple.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of configurations in motorcycles, but
Okay.
The majority of sport bikes are inline 4s until you get in the higher end stuff. And my favorite to this day is a V4, but I digress.
Sorry, I was not aware of that. I don't know why I wasn't aware of that, but okay.
Probably a worry you just never thought about it before.
No,
once you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, 4 pipes in the front, inline 4. Yeah.
I mean, I have seen bikes with that, obviously, but I mean, for God's sakes, I've seen a Harley with a V8 stuck under the tank. So,
yeah, the Boss Hawk.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to be that fun guy at parties, you can say, well, not all inline 4s are flat. But you can't say yes. Almost every inline 4 is a flat plane crank. except for the Yamaha R1. And we can probably argue back and forth whether that was more efficient. Yamaha had some pretty good success with the R1, especially from that time frame. They're nice bikes. I
feel like the R1 dominated like through the 90s and the 2000s.
It was a very popular bike, yeah.
And then and then when people would finally find out about the Hayabusa,
Hayabusa is pretty old. 1300cc inline four. It's just a lot of displacement. And the Hayabusa is a tourer and a drag bike. So it's not a sport bike. And if you've ever ridden one, it rides like a freaking blimp.
Yeah, I owned one for less than 30 hours.
This is an inline four.
Yeah, but I didn't know that.
They 1.3 liter inline.
They still look the same, I think. So yeah.
Anyway, I am always I go under the guise of like a motorcycle above all things should be simple and reliable. And adding a balance shaft is more moving parts.
Yeah.
Now that said,
one other thing to break.
Yeah, but at the same time, that bike has proven to be pretty reliable. Yamaha makes a good engine, a really good engine. In fact, one of the best looking engines ever is the Taurus SHO V8. That's a Yamaha engine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So it wasn't a Ford engine in the Taurus SHO?
No, it was a Yamaha. Yamaha made the motor for it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Those were fast. For their time,
what they were, there weren't a lot of fast four-door sedans. Even though it was terribly ugly, it was a cool sedan.
Yeah, but I mean, you had that really cool SHO embossed in the back bumper.
That was the pre one. That was the V6.
Yeah. Still,
yeah.
I mean, somewhat of a sleeper. Yeah.
Cool for the time, I still think.
Yeah.
In a Radwood kind of way.
Which, by the way, is happening this weekend.
That's right.
Dirtfish.
No, you got my segue.
Oh, sorry. I took your segue? Okay, yeah, you got
that's
your
exactly
segue.
what I was getting at, if you have a Taurus SHO and a nice one, you should be at Radwood this weekend. You can still be at Radwood this weekend.
Absolutely.
I'll be walking around there. I will have my RCS sweatshirt on and my T-shirts, but look for the RCS on the sleeve, unless it's like pouring down rain. That'll probably have a rain jacket on. But if you see me, you know what I look like. Come find me. I'll give you a sticker. Maybe something else. Who knows? Depends how much I like you.
Be careful, people.
I'm just kidding.
Lord knows what he'll pull out of his pockets.
Right? Excuse me while I whip this out.
Oh, jeez.
Note from Blazing Saddles, which will get you fired if you watch.
Those things, that's actually become a trend of people like, what could you not make now? Movies you could not make now, and Blazing Saddles is right at the top of that.
Probably the number one.
That's absolutely
Airplane.
Oh God, Airplane would be so great.
Anything from pre-1990.
Anything Mel Brooks from yeah, pretty much. Even Spaceballs probably.
Oh yeah. Told you never to call me on this wall.
What'd you find? We ain't found.
Tupac.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to Brian Nilsson at Brothers Power Sport. I sold my KLR 650 and was like, I'm going to start looking for a CRF 450 RL. And like
Week later,
he's like, I have one. I was like, gosh. So I have one of those in my garage now. And it's to the point where I just sit down there and stare at it. And yes, you were right. I got rid of the KLR in less than like 4 months. Great bike, just too big of a bike. So I am really happy.
Too big weight-wise. Not physically.
I love the bike. What I have to do to it to kind of make it a little bit better is not going to be cheap, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Another project. It looks really good next to the Monkey.
Yeah, so, Honda on Honda.
Exactly. True Honda family. Never thought I'd be that, but I'm
when
really
it comes
happy.
to motorcycles, there's nothing wrong with that. Even in cars, I don't care if anybody says the NSX is nice. I'm still sticking by that.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. But I am so happy. But we're actually, Dan and I are going to actually do an episode coming up on motorcycles and kind of the buying process. So
yeah.
And Dan has graciously volunteered to spend a bunch of his money to try to find a motorcycle within the next year or so. So
So
we'll see.
I've touched on this before on the show a long time ago. And while we are definitely sheltered from it now due to shortage, under any normal circumstance that wouldn't be COVID, you want to buy a motorcycle in October and November. The new models are out. Nobody's buying them in Washington because it's the dead of winter. Everything's wet and nobody's riding. And it is the slowest time of the year for dealerships. Right now, not so much. Like I went to I-90 the other day, and they have about 10 bikes that are new.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah, they sell fast there.
Everything is sold out.
Yeah.
And typically, though, you can find them in a small town. Now, I stick to my guns. You guys know me on this show. If I want to buy something, I have a set price. I know what I will pay for it. And I am the worst buyer ever because I am patient.
And I am the opposite.
So I'm in no rush to buy a motorcycle. It's going to rain for the next 6 months, although I do like riding dirt bikes in the rain. But Yeah.
I'm going to learn to like riding dirt bikes in the rain.
Once you have the gear, it's not so bad. It sucks on the highway, but once you're at the trail, you don't really care because you're warm, and as long as you have the right goggles and the right like weatherproof clothing, it's actually a lot of fun to throw a bunch of mud around. You just kind of hose yourself off and get back in the truck. Yeah,
driving home with a full face helmet in the rainstorm on a brand new bike with tires that are less than 50 miles, which happened to me last Friday. That's the scariest thing I've ever done, and probably the one of the unintentionally dumbest. But having the right gear. We are gonna talk about it.
I already have the Carter Super Tip of the Week for that one.
Oh, even better. Okay.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of these. Like I write these down as I think of them, otherwise I forget. So I have
Carter Subaru tip is don't buy a motorcycle because your mom will be mad at you. That's every mom out there.
Right.
So yeah.
My mom liked most of my bikes. I think she liked my RC51 the most. No, she liked my CBR. I had a black 1000RR that was like super clean. I had a Krapovich pipe tucked up underneath it. Sounded really nice, not too loud, just really smooth. Sure. She liked that one. So
I can tell I've reached a certain age where I'm like, while I'm researching things for this bike, I'm literally looking for sound bites of mufflers and things like that because
right.
I talked about it. I had an FMF exhaust that came on the KLR. Great bike, loved it. It was so loud. And I never realized how loud it was. I feel really bad for Sarah falling behind me because she never said anything. But when I went to sell it and the guy started up and I was standing behind it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is definitely an age thing because, we're at that point where I like to sound good, but my version of sounding good is subjective, is like bassy and not too echoey. And I don't want to bother my neighbors. Like,
yeah. I will say this. I really like the engine in that bike.
Oh yeah,
it's 4-stroke.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, see, I'm learning all these things. Like I said,
little pipe, 4-stroke, big pipe, 2-stroke.
Yeah. So
except on a trials bike.
Absolutely love it. So you'll be hearing more about it. I could talk about it all night, but and I think Sarah's sick of hearing it. Also, happy birthday to my lovely Sarah. It was her birthday this week, and so I hope you had a wonderful week. So
I saw the motorcycle goodies you got her.
Oh yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's how you know you found somebody you really love, and the fact it's like, hey, I'd like motorcycle stuff for my birthday. Like I can do that. I can do that. So, yeah.
We spend an average of 8 hours and 41 minutes a day facing screens. Laptops, smartphones, tablets, even digital refrigerators. But what are we really connected to? Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was created by Haggerty for people who love cars.
Dan and I will never lie to our listeners. We had a really hard time coming up with an episode this week.
Yeah, 200's hard. You're like, this should be a landmark. And then it's hard to get guests right now, really hard to get guests because of COVID and these new restrictions. Again, we are conscious of, as much as we like to joke about things. Like, I don't want to bring somebody random in. And people are really cautious about coming. And they're like, well, how many people will there be? Is there an audience? And we're trying to be cautious of putting Drivers Club in a compromising position of having people in and having an audience. They've been great to us. And we're like, well, we don't want to get you guys in trouble.
Yeah.
We like to record live because it's fun to interact with the audience, but we don't want to break any rules either. Or just not even breaking rules. You don't want it to look bad.
Well, no, I mean,
it's reckless.
It's just like somebody said it to me. They're like, why didn't you guys just do the whole route for the monkey thing? And like, I think it was Brandon Ben Powell, or maybe you said it. It's like, yeah, we could have done it. But about the time somebody snatches a photo of you riding through an area where you're not supposed to be, or interviewing a guest when you're not supposed to be interviewing them, it can really affect things. And people are very sensitive these days, even if we do or do not think that's agreeable. But it is life. It's the world we live in. So
it's not just about us, unfortunately.
What? Whoa. So there's inline fours and bikes, and it's not about us? I'm not okay with this. So Dan came up with a really good topic.
I was thinking, in the 3 years we've done this, or in general, I started with, my first thought was, in the 3 years we've been doing this, 200 episodes deep. Yeah, 4 years we've been doing this, but 200 episodes. Wow, that does add up about to 200 episodes.
Yeah, it's almost like there's 52 weeks. We really haven't, I don't think we've really missed.
Because we've had extra episodes, so we technically haven't.
Yeah.
If I had to give one piece of car advice to anybody, what is the best advice I could give about a show? But what is that one piece? Like, if I had to pick one Carter Subaru tip of the week, I was like, what is the Carter Subaru tip of 200 episodes? It's like if I had to have one, what is the one thing that I would pound into everybody's head? What is the one thing I wish I knew when I started driving? What is the one piece of advice I give to the most people that has paid off the most? This one goes back to, we could talk about it in the motorcycle episode because it's one of the things I talked about when we first started talking about motorcycles on this show. And for me, it is the single best thing you can possibly do as a driver is to go to a driving school.
Agreed.
I've never sent anybody to a riding school or a driving school and had them come back to me and say that wasn't worth it, ever, especially a riding school. No matter what you ride, it is the most fun you'll have in a car or on a motorcycle, and it has the biggest benefit, cost per dollar benefit.
And it will cost you less in the fact. I noticed this, as funny as you say this, is the fact that I was reviewing my Geico policy a couple days ago, and they were asking me questions if I had taken a driver safety course, anything from on the road or on track stuff, which can save you money. I mean, because they want to see you invest in your future.
Yeah, and so the reason I thought of this, it was just randomly popped into my head today. I've been thinking about this topic for a while, but I came across this article, and it made me laugh because if you've met professional drivers, you are humbled immediately if you've spent 5 minutes with them, with the stuff they know. Refer back to our episode with Rhiannon about rally and how much that woman knows about driving and road conditions and how to set up a car is a lifetime of knowledge that I will never achieve. Ever, ever, ever. I could spend the rest of my life trying to learn what she does, and I will never catch up to her knowledge.
It's just too bad she hasn't learned to drive the car yet.
I know,
it's
right?
Just like one more skill, and she'd be right there. No, she'd find that funny, I think.
So, I hope so.
Yeah,
She would know what
yes.
I am hoping to get Alex on the show, by the way, her husband. But I found this article. Casey Curry, professional driver, if you know Curry Motorsports, Baja, King of the Hammers. If it's off-road and fast, Casey Curry has done it and won it. Casey Curry ran a stock UTV in Brazil's most grueling rally and finished 8th. He took a stock Polaris RZR side by side.
I think that all they did was put stickers on it, wasn't it?
Stickers, and I think they had to do a harness.
Yeah.
That's it. And he took 8th.
That does not mean that Joe's down the street can get in his RZR, and this is a trained professional that knows how to drive this. And
yeah, and he's trophy trucks. I mean, the dude's hardcore. Casey Curry is one of the best drivers in off-road, period. He's raced the car. He's raced the Baja 1000. He's raced the Mint. Like, this dude has run everything. It just goes to show you, like, I guarantee you a good driver, like if we had Randy Popes on the track and me, and you gave me a McLaren 765 and him a Miata, I would not win.
No.
Maybe the first lap, because I would get enough of a head start, and then he would catch me in the corners so fast and that's just the way it is. He's a pro. I'm never going to catch that.
Sure.
That's what led me down that rabbit hole of what is the best thing you can possibly do. And then I was thinking, at Dirtfish. So if you guys weren't at Summerfest, you missed out. Like I've always told everybody, the best time to go to Dirtfish is when the conditions are the worst. If it's raining sideways and it's snowing and it's muddy and it's awful and you're like today, you look outside and you're depressed, go to Dirtfish, because if they have an open class, you will have the time of your life.
Absolutely.
Flinging mud everywhere. And I got my nephew Andrew was there, and I snuck him in a thrill ride with.
He's becoming a cocky little welder, I'll tell you.
I know he is cocky. He's young.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was like, oh, look who's learning to talk.
Yeah. So our friend Sean was there, and he's a driver. He's an instructor at Dirtfish occasionally. He also helps restore it. So him and Jeff, I've been trying to get on the show forever, by the way. And Jeff spent the day with us hanging out, helped shuttle us back and forth with the monkeys.
Thank you.
They do. Yeah, thank you, Jeff Miller. He ended up in the car with Michelle. I went and sent him down to see Sean. He ended up in the car with Michelle.
Ooh.
Not Michelle Graf, the other Michelle that's the instructor there, who's awesome, by the way. And he was blown away at how fast you could go around the car. He had the time of his life, loved it. But best time I've ever had in a car was at Dirtfish. So,
I mean, it's learning to drive in the worst of conditions. You will make you obviously a better driver in the best of conditions.
Yeah,
it just will, even on dirt, and things like that. I was thinking in terms of a general topic, and that would be maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the one thing we've talked about, and I think it's something that even the person who doesn't know anything about cars can work on. And the fact of when you're buying a car, when you're looking at a car, always ask the questions that you think you don't need to know the answers to that you already know. ask the intervals. Ask, I mean, a pretty good example is, I mean, I feel sorry for the parts guy out at Brothers because I grilled him because this was my first, real dual sport bike, and I grilled him as far as maintenance schedules and what should be done. I mean, he actually and they're great because they gave me an actual sheet with everything that tells me, which
it's in your
is
owner's
fine.
manual.
Yeah, but I'm saying a lot of people don't know that.
It's actually
in the owner's
manual. Yeah, it's in the owner's manual.
Yeah. Get out there, figure out, know enough to know that, that you've got air going into the engine, you got fuel going to the engine, you got an explosion, you got exhaust. Know that you're, about where your gas tank is. Know about oil. You don't have to know. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't.
Know that if you have a BMW, you can't check your oil. It's on the dash.
Exactly. It's like maintenance is the biggest thing. And I know there's tons of jokes out there, blinker fluids. You should check your blinker fluid. It's important. If you run out of blinker fluid, it won't blink. So maintenance. And I think it's, if you're listening to this and you're not a car person, obviously there's a ton of them out there. Do not be afraid ever to ask another car person.
Yeah.
Because if you ask somebody that knows something and they don't know it, they will help you find the answer, and they will probably learn something in the process. You may end up, sitting down to do a podcast with your best friend and learning that motorcycles have 4 cylinders. Who knew?
Can't believe you didn't know that.
It's embarrassing to say, but I'm in my mind, it was always like, oh yeah, there's 2 cylinders, there's 1 cylinder, there are, single piston. So
Honda at one point made an inline 6-cylinder called the CBX. It looked ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Suzuki made a rotary.
Yeah, well,
Honda made
awesome.
made an oval piston twin that had 4 spark plugs. Oval pistons. They were ovals.
Oh, okay, I got you. I was thinking, you said rotary, and then I was thinking oval, and I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. So, but no, maintenance is to know what your car needs before it needs it.
It's probably the most important thing any car owner can do.
It will save you money if you're calling your dealership going, I think I need an oil change, and they're like, oh, it's not for another 1,000 miles. Get on the book.
Get it on the books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Issaquah, because they're like a month out right now.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, it's maintenance. It's maintenance. It's learning about your car. Sit down. I think so many people buy cars, and when they're not car people, and that's fine. Sit down in your passenger seat one day in your driveway, pull out the owner's manual, read through it. Don't you have to read the whole thing, but get the highlights. Figure out, I guarantee you, I have learned things pulling it out, and about 3 or 4 pages into your owner's manual will be like a digit or like a picture of your dash and things like that. And there's buttons that I have found on cars where I'm like, I didn't even know I had that. I didn't know it did that. So it's important.
Actually, reading through traction modes and how they work in the manual is really important.
Yeah. A pretty good example, I sat down with my new bike. I read out the instruction manual. I found out there's a built-in auxiliary power port that's hidden in the bike that you can use to run power for other things like heated grips and things like that. Yeah.
Heated grips are nice, by the way.
I've learned some other things that if you overrun that system, that the stator tends to burn out. So you got to be really careful about how much you're running.
Heated grips, but as long as you got hand guards, you're fine.
Yeah, I got hand guards. So sit down and read the manual and ask questions.
So funny story about that. I was actually on my road trip I was in my GTR, and I was in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is right outside of, well, it's not right outside, but it's probably the closest major town to Moab. And I was driving aggressively this trip. I was spirited.
Is this the one where you spirited your way into another state before somebody could pull you over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is before that, but yes.
Yeah.
But I was burning through miles, and given the dusty conditions and everything else, I found a Nissan dealership there that had a certified GTR. They were a certified GTR dealer, and I had them do an oil change on the road. Right there, because I had at that point
it's not going to hurt.
Well, the stupid thing I didn't do is I didn't change the oil before I left, and it was only like 1,500 miles into my last oil change. But when you drive more aggressively, it's usually a good idea to change the oil more often. It's not because the heat cycles are burning up your oil; it's just you're just shoving more air into the motor, and therefore you're adding more contaminants into the filters, and it's just getting dirtier faster. And it wasn't a big deal, but it was like that car wasn't super expensive to change the oil in, uncommon to popular belief. Transmission fluid, whole other story, but oil changes were pretty typical in that car. I think it was like $130 or something. But it was just cheap insurance. It was like I'm going all these miles all over, and I hadn't changed the oil ahead of time, and I probably would have been right on the line, like maybe 1,000 miles over. But I'm like, I don't want that on the records of the car. When you think of resale of an exotic, any car really, but especially a car that borders on the exotic. And I'm not saying the GTRs is an exotic, but it's in the upper end. It's not exotic for Nissan.
It's a get up and go.
Yeah, it moved. So yeah, it was just one of those things that little things like that will reward you in return value and make you a better seller, which I still think integrity is important in that. So,
I mean, and I think we've talked about this many times as far as oil changes. I always say every 6 months you should be changing your oil.
Yeah, regardless of mileage, minimum 6 months.
And I think everybody thinks, well, my car sat during COVID. I don't care. My car got 2 oil changes in 2020. I put a total of like 3,000 miles on the car in 2020, but it still got 2 oil changes because
you used it off road, like the times you're using it.
But I'm saying it sat more than it did anything else, and that it still needs to be changed. So it's important. So like I said, maintenance. Knowledge of your car will lead to better driving of your car. So, in your driving classes and things like that. So
yeah,
it's funny because I think a lot of people, and obviously this is a pretty good example that wasn't set up, like think that when you and I are talking about these Carter Super tips of the day and things like that, we have all this knowledge. You do have most of it. I got
to look it up and refine it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's by no means do I go into one blind and assume that I'm throwing something out there. I like to go verify what I'm about. I like to trust but verify my own mind.
Yes. Yeah. There's not a lot of fake news in the automotive world, so
yeah. But I've had assumptions that have been wrong for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had probably more than I've had right, but it's important. I think that was one of the main goals when Dan and I started this accidentally, is that we wanted to really get some knowledge out there, and not the obnoxious knowledge that we think we see out there. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but this is what we think, make your own assumptions.
If you're an Avance member, you get 10% off on almost everything. You can find somebody who will do your maintenance. It doesn't have to be done at the dealer for the record. Any good, reputable repair shop will update your Carfax and show that the maintenance has been done, and you can save 10% off at almost everywhere. You can get 10% off driving schools with Proformance, our friend Don Kitch down there, or at Dirtfish. And at Dirtfish, that's both of those. That's a big discount. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Especially, Dirtfish is more expensive overall as a driving school because you are handed a race car, and that is not cheap to maintain. If you've ever followed their Instagram, you can see the Exidy clutches that they use, or their brakes, and you can see the damage that's been done to suspension, brakes, and clutches. Not because people crash their cars, but because you are rallying a car. They say nothing handles like a rental. I would challenge you to say that nothing handles like a Dirtfish car,
which is a rental.
Yes, which is technically a rental that day.
Speaking of good maintenance, I do want to give a huge shout out to Group 2 Motorsports in Woodinville.
Oh yeah, I saw you were over there the other day.
Yeah, we had a little, well, it's not a little hiccup with the Maserati. That rear diff is sealed, and it's not real easy to change the fluid because it's sealed, and so we lost a diff. But it took 62,000 miles to do that. But they treated us as always with such grace and wonderful service, and went out of their way to help us and really figure out what was wrong with the car and why it was wrong, and if it was obviously it's not a warranty issue at 62,000 miles, but they did a great job. They did it fast. I mean, and they did it efficiently. So I just wanted to give them a huge shout out. So yeah, it was nice.
And it's funny because that happened to you. I scheduled the next oil change for the Raptor because I'm going to Moab pretty soon. And you guys will see a bunch of video from that. I'm doing the Schaefer Trail, which is people often call it the White Rim Trail. That's the one if you're in Moab and you're at Canyonlands, and if you look down, you will see all the little vehicles that look like ants. I'm driving down that in the Raptor all the way to the bottom of the Canyon Valley, which has been something I've been wanting to do forever. It's pretty sketchy in the Raptor because it's a tight trail, but people do it all the time.
How wide is that trail, Dan?
It's the turns. The turns are like, it's multi-point turning. Yeah. And, if you miss that turn, you fall down 1,000 feet. So I won't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, but I'm having them change the oil ahead of time, which that thing has pretty large intervals.
You just get a big barrel and just put that on.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. But I'm also changing the diff fluid.
Okay.
Because it's got a locking rear diff, and I've used it a couple times in the winter. And that thing sees a lot of off-road time. So I've got 23,000 miles on that truck. Hasn't been a year yet.
We've kept the diff really cool in the winter because we've buried it up like past the diff.
in snow many times.
So
yeah,
it's important to keep your diff cool. But yeah, well, that's good. I mean, I forgot you're heading down to Moab. That's going to be a fun trip.
Oh yeah.
It's lots of fun.
Cannot wait.
Yeah. So you're going down for your birthday?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of time in one of my favorite places to go.
Good. Good. Yeah. I've got to get down there sometime. I had initially planned many years ago, and then we had a issue.
Yeah. I ordered a rear bumper skid plate.
Well, that's probably smart. I think because we've talked about that those exhausts will go.
Oh yeah, I'm going to scrape I'll probably flatten them regardless, just from rotation left to right.
What does it cover? What does the skid plate cover?
It comes out the trailer hitch, and it just drops down about the same distance as the spare tire.
Okay.
And so when the spare tire drags, it'll drag on that before it drags the exhaust tips. And they'll still get some damage, but...
So it goes into the hitch and under the car.
Yep. It looks kind of like a shovel. It's rounded.
Wouldn't that be an edge to catch?
No, it's rounded on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Front and back. So if you back into something, you get...
I get backing in, but I'm thinking about coming down and then obviously... Okay.
It's also got a tow eye on it, so I can put in a
cool.
shackle on it. So in case I get stuck, which I hope not, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to do the overland trails versus I'm not going to go, Hell's Revenge or anything.
If Bobby Joe with his new Jeep can go down there, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like you said, your length is going to be the issue in making those hairpin turns. But if you crank it, then gas it in two-wheel drive, I think you just swing that rear end around. That rear end will swing right around.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Yeah. Yeah, this is why Dan and I are not allowed to ride in the same car because the whole company would be dead in seconds. So it's just like you learn those things. Like I remember when I was working in the aeronautical industry on the line, and Nike put all of their executives on one plane, their Gulfstream, and then they had an issue where the wheel wouldn't come down, and then they never did that again. the whole top brass could have been gone. So yeah.
Next thing I'm very much looking forward to is visiting Moab Garage Co. for the best cronut in the world. Best local donuts, that's North Bend Bakery for sure. Which if you were at Dirtfish...
Cotton candy melting in your mouth. Those things are just wickedly...
It's so good.
I mean, I could physically feel myself getting fatter, but
Right.
It's like,
I had to order them. When I got there at 8:30 on Sunday morning to pick those up, there was a line out the door like 5 people deep.
Oh, you ordered them ahead of time.
I ordered them the day before to make sure I had them because they sold out like probably about 9:30 that day, they said. So they'd be done. They'd be out of donuts by 9:30, 10 that morning.
See, the thing you learn on Rain City Supercars, not just car stuff, but you learn when to order your donuts, where to order your donuts. Yeah. So
I know. Speaking of service, Chris Roberts, congratulations for starting at Zadart.
Wow, yeah.
I am very sad to see you go Salish, from Salish, because we had Chris, without a doubt, is worth the shout out. He's been on the show. He set the bar for what customer service should be.
He was running the valet when he
was running. He was the concierge there for Salish, not just the valet.
Yeah.
And they're still good guys there. I talked to him the other day. I have reservations there coming up, and they have been awesome. But I do miss Chris. He was fantastic, and he really did raise the bar like in the whole area for what customer service could be and like what a night out could be. Anybody who went there, I mean, I did a wedding there. DJ and Asha set up with them for their rehearsal dinner. Gaurav got engaged there.
Oh, you mean Gaurav Vila? Yeah, the Indian Bob Vila?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, okay.
That's a fun one, too. If you're not following Gaurav on Instagram. But anyway, before I go into that, thank you, Chris, for all your service at Salish. We wish you the best at Zadart. If you go to Zadart, tell them I sent you. Tell them we sent you. And ask for Chris, of course. He's going to be taking over there, and I know he'll do well because he's, like I said, best customer service around, and that's dealing with exotics. He'll be the man.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Gaurav Vila.
GV.
Yeah.
His new name is GV.
So there's a couple projects he's done. Now, we mentioned this on the show before. If you haven't listened to his episode, it's one of our favorite ones. When I tell people to listen to the show, I have to just send them to that episode because it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's just a great episode.
I mean, he holds that Indian accent through the whole thing. It's amazing. It's like he was born in India or something. Jeez.
I know, but yet he's more American than we are by a long shot.
He really is.
Especially now.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I met the Camaro version of Gaurav, lives in my building.
Oh, awesome.
But it's orange. So, if you don't know, Gaurav is a very good friend of ours. He's a Microsoftie, and he came to America. He went to Georgia Tech, yellow and black, and he has taken that theme. He has a beautiful Z06 Grand Sport Corvette that he rips up on the track. I mean, the man is keeping the tire business in business, and because he didn't think he was American enough, he decided to take up woodworking. And he didn't just like, hey, I'm going to start to whittle. Like, he's making beautiful, like, dining room tables. Benches.
He made a shed the other day for his generator, which you'll want to live in.
I was gonna say he probably put a bed in there for obvious reasons. But yeah.
No, it's funny because like I'm talking about it on the show, even though because he's a car guy and it's funny, but it's really commendable too. Like, he's got the right type of insulation. He has the right pressure-treated lumber. He built the base, too. He didn't just build the shed. He didn't buy a kit. It's all from scratch. He built the base, the cement, started with that. Hadn't done that before, figured that out. Then he gets the right type of wood for the bottom. So he's got pressure-treated wood down below. Then he's got soundproof, waterproof, moisture-resistant insulation on the inside. He custom cut the metal roof. He made custom joiners for the joints up top. It's all reinforced. He's got the right kind of siding on there. It's like he's got the special hinges so the doors sit super flush and clean, so they're not just like tacked on there. Like he's even got a special exhaust fan on it.
I mean, besides the fact that he forgot to pull a permit and the city's going to tear it down now, but other than that, it's going to be a really nice generator.
No, he did do all the permits.
He did.
He had
no,
the
I'm
fancy electrician in there.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, dude, if you ever sell that thing, let me know because I want your generator house because I need a generator.
Just live in your generator house. It's cheaper.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm going to have him come over and like help me build mine because I have to do the same thing. And I'm just like,
he's worked himself into another job. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So good job, Gaurav. I'm genuinely impressed, especially with the table, though. Especially though.
I mean, I joke, but the woodshop got me through high school.
Yeah.
Like, thank God I had those skills. But I look at some of the stuff he does, and I'm like, I don't have the attention span to do what he did. Like, no joke. Like, you talk about how you take time to do things, and I rush into things. I mean, literally, and I want to say this to Dan. Dan sat there and said, do not buy a bike till October. And I went, okay, hey, I bought a bike.
I don't think, given...
I got to wonder...
yes, given the deal, I think you did just fine.
I did great. I'm just saying, like, listening's not my strong suit with that, but, he's Gaurav is really a great friend of ours, and so I that's why I like to shout him out on here and give him shit. And I mean, I think sometimes when people see him and I in public, we think that we don't like each other, but I like him. I don't know what he said about me. So
he's great to razz on the track too. He's fast. Him and James Dennis go at it. Yeah, they're both really fast on the track. He's a good guy on the track.
It is amazing the amount of people that we have met by doing this, and the friendships we have, and excuse me, and the places this has taken us. Dan and I both said I didn't want this to turn into one of those like we're so grateful episodes, but we really are.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have 200 episodes without the people and the sponsors and our friends and the community supporting us and telling us that we can do this. When you start from having beers after exotics because you need to relax to turning into 200 episodes with some national sponsors. So it's really cool.
It's fun. It continues to be fun.
Dan and I say that, but there's conversations where I'm like, we could do a once a year podcast. No, be a long one, but yeah.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty.
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
For people who love cars.
What do we got coming up next? Not Avance. We have a lot of stuff coming up next.
Good Lord.
We got to bring the CMONT back. Well, COVID. Who knows where California and COVID? Who knows?
CMONT will be coming back. There will be a yet to be named other rally we're going to be doing. Monkey Rally 2.0 will be. I mean, I think that's going to turn into something. I really think that idea has turned into something that will be huge. The response that I've gotten from just people messaging me, I'll tell you, I say a lot of shit. I mean, and I don't mean that in bad ways, but I say a lot of stuff. And the way my humor works is I say it and I forget I say it. The amount of people that have messaged me about the line of "We look like Oompa Loompas coming home from the factory." I was like, I don't remember saying it, but like, it's like that. I think that is one of the best things that's come out of this. Like, I love CMONT. CMONT will always be one of my favorite things, and I really missed it this year. I missed being in Monterey with everybody. I love being on rallies, and it's funny because I was looking at a bunch of photos from Drivers Club, and Casey was commenting on how much fun she had on the Drivers Club rally. And it is, if a rally is done right, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I really miss that. I miss being in a car with people and the camaraderie and on the radio. And I mean, the Monkey Rally was it was an organized shit show. I mean, we were over-organized and over-prepared. And Brian said that in the interview. Like Brandon Benpal had us. We could have built a new bike out of what was in the back of that of the level 10 truck, minus a frame. But we really could have.
Probably could have.
We probably could have. We
JB
probably could have figured out
one
something
together.
Absolutely. So I really am looking forward to being on more rallies and getting together with people. I think, in the right circumstances, obviously, we don't want to. I really don't. We haven't had it happen, but I really don't want to make anybody, send us hate mail saying that, that we're breaking the rules and things like that. But we're social distancing in cars. We're at least 6 feet apart when we're driving at 100 miles an hour. So it's important. So,
Allegedly,
yeah.
That one's going to stick.
Yeah. That was Eltingham, I think.
Yeah, it was Eltingham's episode.
So, I mean, lots of, we are going to be doing more rallies. We're going to be doing more, we are really trying to be more social. As we're coming out of this. It was always the plan, even before COVID, to really get out there. If you've been to any events we're doing, you've seen our tent. You've seen, and a huge shout out goes to he's not really my uncle, but my uncle Peter for bringing out Peter Vermillion for bringing out his 1996 993 twin turbo.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's yellow on yellow. It's really hard to miss.
It's very yellow.
Yeah. But we really want to do more events like that. And we are always open to ideas. Like, if you message us, please know that Dan and I both have very busy day jobs, but we really do care about our fan base, or the people that listen, I should say. I don't say fan base. But
we did hand out some T-shirts, though.
Yeah, we did. We handed out T-shirts, so.
Yes.
Which is good, because I noticed the email from Dirtfish before that said if we were going to sell them, we had to get a business license.
Which was never the plan anyway.
No, it was never the plan, but I was like,
it did make me laugh.
That's a good email to see. Yeah. Oops. But we're looking for ideas. We're always looking for people. As you know, we try to bring out the best in people. We try to, And I will say this, and some of the people will say this. Some of our guests have been tough, but we've had so much fun with it. We've had so much fun. Like, there's a few guests that would just talk, and then you put a microphone in front of them, and it's like nothing. Okay.
Like, more whiskey.
One of my favorite episodes is, and Dan, I'm horrible with names. They drove the Mitsubishis up to the Arctic Circle.
Oh, for the Alcan.
Yeah.
That was Andy and Mercedes Lilienthal, Crankshaft Culture.
So many people brought this up to us. They have their own, they're big social media people and things like that. But that episode, Dan and I said maybe 6 words. They are so good at telling their own story. Like,
they were great.
So many people came to me and they're like, you didn't say anything. And I was like, I didn't have to. Like, they told their story so efficiently, and they knew where we were going with things, even though we have no, real framework for what we do. It was so much fun. It's funny because I look back and it doesn't seem like 200 episodes. We have had, it seems like I have had 200 or so dinners and a couple of beers with friends, people that have definitely become friends. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Michelle came over the other night, Graf. We were all hanging out the other day. She's funny. Driving away.
That woman, she's
I like the friends we made.
She's going through brake pads and she's going through tires. That's because she's doing it right. So
I was hanging
out with Thad out at the course,
right?
Yeah.
And I was just talking to Rachel the other day. Mm-hmm. She's got the Bronco torn apart again, cleaning her fuel injectors.
Okay.
She's like, I feel like such an amateur doing this. I'm like, everybody else would have given up by now. Keep going.
I don't know if I've ever
updates.
Have you ever cleaned fuel injecters?
I have never personally done it. I have removed them.
Yeah, I've removed them, but I mean, I can say she's doing more than we have. So
yeah, a long shot.
So yeah.
We meet the coolest people.
I know. That's cool. I think one of the cool people just walked in.
This is the bird?
No. Don't call her that. No, she's got her Harry Potter sweater on. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, it's a Hamilton sweater. I'm sorry.
You're going to get soda thrown at your head.
Yeah, I know. Well, won't be the first. Won't be the last. So, yeah.
What do you think we should do coming up next?
Well, I mean, I think obviously we're going to be at Radwood. Mm-hmm. We're going to be at the new Chateau Ste. Michelle Avance event for the classic cars on October 3rd.
It is, yeah.
Which will be a lot of fun. We're going to be having some more adventures. I'm heading to F1, the F1 race at the end of October. I'm excited for that. We're going to try to do some more smaller, not rallies, but maybe some snow days we'd like to do this year.
Snow days is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's the next thing we had to plan.
Yeah. If people are interested, we'd be glad to take Brandon Ben Powell and force him to teach us everything he knows about, pulling cars up. I
need to use my winch.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work. I can pull, like I said, I will say it. The SAR pin got pulled up the hill by my car, so it's just.
If people are looking for something fun to do this weekend, the day after this comes out, there's a Radwood pre-party at the shop from 6:30 to 8:30 in Soto.
Yeah.
So shop Soto pre-party, go check it out.
Drive slowly. Some of the roads down there will take out your oil pans.
Yes,
just drive. That's all
that
I'm
is
saying.
absolutely true.
Drive slowly. Yeah. The food's good at the shop.
Yeah.
And you get to see some cool cars.
Derby's got good food. I like it there. But
Yeah.
the next thing coming up is Radwood. It's 11 to 4 on Sunday. It's at Dirtfish.
Yep.
So go check that out. You can go look at the Avance website, go to their events, and I think there's tickets on there. There's links to it, I think.
Yeah.
Or you can just get them when you're there. But, yeah.
And like I said, what else is coming up? I'm trying to think.
Avance members get 25% off tickets. So
even better.
Yeah, check that out on Avance.com. Radwagon25 at checkout, and that will get you 25% off.
And Dan has talked about this. They're doing an Avance Dyno Day on October 2nd. Even if you don't want to dyno your car, go watch.
It's a good time just to talk to people.
So much fun.
Yeah. I like the noise.
Yeah. There's going to be the Avance Track Day at the Ridge on the 9th, and then actually, and I don't know if I'm going to be in town for this, but I would really like to go, is Wagon Fest, October 10th. That's at Dirtfish again. So, I got to figure out what the qualification for that is. Is it any wagon? Because, technically the cross track's a wagon. I'm
Technically.
saying, so everybody wants to see the cross track. So, yeah.
I was talking to Steve Rimmer. He's got that E63 AMG wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes wagons are super cool.
I would 100%. It's funny because there's one that Mercedes uses as some of the lead cars in F1, and it's red, and it's got all the lights. But I have always said that and the fact that Mercedes bought that E63 wagon in the United States is great. I wish BMW had done that and brought a stick, the M5 in a manual. But that E46 or E63 is one of the prettiest cars in the world. Do you remember when we were in Monterey and there was an older gentleman that had just taken delivery of one? It was maroon, and he came to Concorso to pick up his tickets.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was talking to us. And that was the first one I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And he had it optioned, beautifully. But I've never been a huge Mercedes guy. I've always been BMW, but I was absolutely beautiful.
Well,
car.
if you look at the Griot's M3 wagon that they made, basically, I want another M3 wagon. Not the body style. It's the fender flares. It's why the RS6 looks so good. It's fender flares. Give me box fenders and a wagon.
This is why
and a manual.
Yeah, and a manual.
Yeah, like a CTSV.
Save the manual, right?
The greatest wagon ever.
Yeah,
because the manual rear wheel drive.
Cadillacs, like I said, after that Cadillac day at Exotics, they're bringing back some mean looking cars. So
yeah.
Well, I think that's a pretty good 200th episode.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And when had you asked, 4 years ago, Nick and Dan sitting in my kitchen drinking Rainier, where do you think this is going to go? I don't know if where we are is where I would have said, and I think I like it. I'm just saying, we've always thought of it as something of a novelty, and we're very grateful that it really hasn't been.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I don't think we left you any room to do commercials in this, did we?
I'll just shove them in there.
Okay, just
Works
shove them in
every
there.
time.
Just shove them in there. Jesus, I can't. Well, for this grateful Nicholas Bergeron for Rain City Supercars, I'm Nick.
You want to try that again?
No. Well, you're going to leave it in?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm very grateful for this. So for Rain City Supercars, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.